Very good evening and welcome to News Hour here live on GBC24 and Ghana Television. My name is Emmanuel Amagashi.
And I am Ofeyuwa Darkon. Welcome once again. In our first report, the Member of Parliament for North Tong, Mr. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has been invited to appear before the Joe Gatti Special Committee investigating the allegations of bribery in Parliament.
This follows a letter written by his lawyer to the committee with a request for him to give evidence.
3 witnesses were scheduled before the committee on Friday. They are the MP for Boku Central, Mr. Mahama Ayariga, the Minority Chief Whip, Alhaji Muhammad Muntaka, and the Energy Minister, Mr. Boache Jakon. But when sitting started, a member of the committee, Mr. Magnus Amwate, accepted the letter from the MP for North Tong, Mr. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa.
The letter simply states that he had received a letter from this committee in his capacity as a member of the Appointments Committee, requesting him to stand by to give evidence before this committee. However, at the last sitting of this committee, he heard the committee directed that only 4 persons were going to appear before this committee. And therefore, he thought, since his name had been mentioned in the evidence of the first witness, Honorable Joseph Osei-Wusu, he ought to be given the right to respond to the presentation of Honorable Joe Osei-Wusu. Being that as it may, the committee thinks that he has a right to be heard by this committee, and we are going to give him the opportunity to appear before this committee to respond to whatever he considered to be issues raised against him. However, apart from this letter, he has made a verbal request to us this morning to give him a copy of the proceedings of Honorable Joe Osei-Wusu. Yes, we have also agreed to oblige that request. We are taking steps to furnish him with a copy, a transcript of the proceedings of that day. And when he receives it, he will be in a position to come before us.
We have directed that the verbatim report should be given to the persons who we have mentioned that will be calling, namely Honorable Ayaga, Honorable Mutaka Mohammed, Honorable Ajako, and Honorable Okudzeto-Ablakwa. I just want to also order further that Mr. Osei-Wusu referred extensively to the day that the report concerning Mr. Boache Jakon was taken. I further order that the clerk makes that available as well to all members. You recollect that he said they went into conclave, and when they came back, he said certain things. He moved his motion, he said certain things. So I have seen a copy of the Hazard, but that it should also be made available to all the members who are going to be called.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the committee asked anyone who has evidence relating to the matter and will therefore want to appear before the committee to get in touch with the clerk of parliament. The committee's sitting continues on Monday, the 20th of February 2017.
On Thursday, the country's lawmakers condemned the seizure and destruction of state facilities by political party activists and irate youth. A statement in that regard was laid by 2 MPs, the MP for Sanerigu, Mr. ABF Hussaini, and Kennedy Kankam, MP for Nshaiso. Opinions on the issue, however, were divided between the minority and majority sides of the House.
It is becoming a norm for some political party youth to destroy or seize state property soon after their party of choice wins power. The unlawful act sometimes turns violent.
Mr. Speaker, I am referring incidents about a fortnight ago in the Sanaru district and the Tamale metropolis, where unruly marauding mobs ran amok, vandalized the offices of the National Health Insurance Authority, the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, SADA, the Youth Employment Agency, and others, and assaulted and wounded workers and clients who had come to patronize the services of these institutions. They also vandalized properties and looted the vault of cash and other precious items.
What is unacceptable in the midst of this wantonness being reported is the hypocrisy being displayed by certain persons who, instead of condemning the act and the perpetrators, have resorted to the use of uncalled, uncivilized, belligerent language and are striving rather unholy to rope in the President of the Republic.
Both the NDC and NPP blamed each other for initiating and repeating the unlawful act.
On the 9th of January, after the peaceful transition and handover of power by President Mahama to President Akufo-Addo, hoodlums invaded the seat of government, brutally assaulted a police ASP in the full glare of military officers. Mr. Speaker, when you say thugs attacked a senior police officer in the full glare of army personnel and they did nothing, it's a very serious and dangerous statement. If not for the professionalism of the Ghana Armed Forces and the police service, a similar thing would have happened at Abubloshi. Because when the NDC won in 2008 and took over power January 7, 2009, innocent people were murdered.
The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Joseph Osei-Osu, had to call the House to order.
It is very clear from both statements that either side of the divide is complaining about something very untoward. I would be very, very grateful, and I'm sure Ghanaians will be grateful if we are one and united in condemning the wrong acts.
Mr. Speaker, let me start by saying that it is unfortunate that in this honorable House, we have shown to the whole nation that instead of being one and the same people, we are different. Simply because of our political representations and inclinations. It is quite disheartening and unfortunate. These things have happened. Whether we say yes or we say no, they have happened. But what we should be asking ourselves in this house is, do two wrongs make a right?
As a people, we need to grow. It is true that yes, in 2001, some nasty things happened. It is also true that in 2009, some other nasty things happened. Mr. Speaker, all of us condemn them at different levels. We must not program ourselves to say that, like my colleague, the defense minister said, oh, this year is an improvement. There's no sense in any individual as Ghanaian being maltreated. Even if it is one person, you can't say that it is an improvement.
We as a house should lead the way in how to douse the flame. We are one people in one country with a common destiny. So that it was not condemned yesterday doesn't mean that it should not be condemned today. We are all human beings. We are all human beings. And what touches us today, which has occasioned loud voices being raised, should signal to us that when voices were suppressed yesterday, those people who were affected could not have taken it kindly.
In the face of impunity, this House must stand together and ensure that people who breach the law, irrespective of which party, which political side they belong, dealt with in accordance with the law. Indeed, if we had started by dealing with the first occurrences, we will not be talking about this today. There's the other part of the political actors, our role, the reason why the police is not able to act, the security agencies are not able to act in the face of these ones. I think that it is time Parliament as an institution took this matter seriously, made sure that the police given the free hand to perform their responsibility as a state institution.
Sitting was adjourned to Tuesday, February 21st, 2017.
The Ghana Highway Authority says the Burepe Bridge in the northern region will be closed to vehicular traffic and the travelling public from today, Friday, February 17th to Wednesday, 8th March 2017. This is for emergency repair works to be carried out on the bridge. The authority is therefore advising motorists travelling to and from the northern region to use the following alternative routes. Northbound travellers towards Tamale may use the Kumasi, Techimai, Wenchi, Sola, Fufuoso Junction, Tamale, while southbound travellers from Tamale may use Tamale, Fufuoso Junction, Sola, Wenchi, Techimai. While asking for cooperation from all, the ministry apologizes to the motoring and traveling public and assures that the repair works will be completed on time to ease the inconvenience associated with the works. The Highway Authority is asking motorists to adhere to available directional and safety signs on the corridor.
The offices of the National Council on Persons with Disability, PWDs, will be opened in all the 10 regions. This will bring the services of the council closer to the PWDs in the regions. The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Ms. Otiko Jaba, said this in Accra during a national dialogue with persons with disability.
Persons living with disabilities are sometimes described as vulnerable. They do not only suffer from abuse, but are also neglected in the national discourse for development. Mindful of this, a national dialogue has been held in Accra to enable policymakers and persons living with disabilities to chart a new course to help address some of their concerns. The co-founder and chief technical officer of a software company, Logicel, Farida Bedway, said persons living with disability should not be relegated to the background.
It's about time that the government realized that we are also important, and because I always say disability does not discriminate. It can happen to anybody at any time, and it's in the best interest of the non-disabled to make sure that if it happens to them, the environment is in a state where they'll be able to cope. Otherwise, they'll find themselves in the same situation as most of us in this country find ourselves in.
Mr. Alexander William said there are lots of discrimination on the labor market and urged the government to strengthen laws to protect the disabled. The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Madam Otiko Jaba, said persons living with disability abound with potential that they can be harnessed when they are given the chance and supported by the society.
Seriously, it is no fault of anybody to be disabled. It could happen to any of us. It could be that you are born that way, or that it comes from an ailment or an accident, or you took the wrong medication. It could also come with age. I'm growing older, and look, I cannot read without my glasses. So we all have a form of impairment or disability. The government of the day is committed to ensuring that persons with disability receive the necessary attention due them. In this regard, we have key issues we will focus on to ensure this becomes a reality and not just a talk show.
GBC24 spoke to some representative of the groups present.
I believe that whatever she said here is something that the government in place now will do so that persons with disability will see more improvements in our lives.
The government, beyond
making sun cream affordable for persons with albinism. We also consider skin cancer drugs affordable for persons. Children are the most, people affected by, burn injury. And I believe that if we want them to get back to school, we have to start at the base unit, teaching them the skills, the tools that will help them to be able to get to the classroom. For instance, how they can be able to speak out, how they will be able to accept their challenges, and how they will be able to cope with the strategies to bend.
People stigmatize against us or persons, parents who have children like my daughter. She's so beautiful, she's a human being first. There is no way anybody should define my daughter by her disability. But here we are in Ghana, people do not understand. People feel that it's contagious, so being closer to us, you may catch autism. There are people who may want to work with my child as teacher in the house, but people believe that, as a young person, if you work with this child, you are likely to have a child like that in the near future. So you see that the education is not there. Persons with autism are intelligent, they are brilliant, they are so beautiful.
Ghana and Morocco on Friday took their bilateral ties to a new level with the signing of a memorandum of understanding covering 25 areas of interest to Accra and Rabat. The MOU injecting a new life into the energy, finance, agriculture, trade and industry sectors of the two countries. Our correspondent Edward Nyako reports that President Akufo-Addo conferred the highest honor of the land, the companion of the order, Ghana, on the visiting king of Morocco, Mohammed VI.
Ghana is the first country to hold the king of Morocco, King Mohammed, after the readmission of his country into the African Union. An indication that Rabat is poised to make friends with Accra to establish its presence on the continent. A guard of honor was mounted at the seat of the presidency for the King of Morocco. Next on the bill was the conferment of the highest honor of the land on the visiting king. High on the program of the Moroccan king's visit was a deepening of economic relations. This was evident in the memorandum of understanding signed by both the public and private sectors of both countries. In all, 25 areas of the economy were captured in the MOU, including finance and economy, energy, agriculture, trade and industry, education and foreign affairs.
The Ghana National Chamber of Commerce is engaging the Moroccan business delegation to partner with Ghanaian businesses to realize the vision of government in implementing the one district, one factory agenda for industrial growth. The following recommendations were proposed during the business-to-business meeting, and that government must improve the macroeconomic situation of the country. Government should encourage private-public partnership initiative in infrastructure development across the Ghanaian economy, streamlining business rules and regulations.
Sectorial clusters helped identify numerous areas of cooperation in mining and energy, renewable in particular, financial services, agriculture and agribusiness, ICT, tourism and pharmaceuticals. The experience that Ghana is undertaking with the Nzima Solar Project is a case in point. Although your country is endowed with essential resources such as oil and gas, you have made the remarkable choice to provide energy in a clean, secure and sustainable environment.
Morocco is a leader in the fashion industry in Africa and has managed to create thousands of jobs for its citizens. Another area that Ghana can tap into the experience of Morocco is energy, especially solar. At the moment, the North African country derives 20% of its energy from solar. It hopes to increase this figure to 60% by 2020. The Ghanaian captains of industry, banking and the capital market present at the sign of the MOU said the move undertaken by Accra and Rabat has the potential to give impetus to Ghana's drive towards industrialization, which has been termed one district, one factory. Edward Nyako reporting for GBC24.
News Hour continues after the break.
Hello again, it's Friday, time to talk business. My name is Maurice Ogbete. Now, as government firms up plans to cut and in some cases abolish taxes, the Chief Executive of Delta Capital, Victor Owusu, is asking the authorities to put in place measures to make up for the immediate revenue shortfalls. Mr. Owusu says the immediate shocks must be checked. Estimates show government will lose 2.6 billion Ghana cedis from tax cuts. In the MPP's manifesto, it clearly spells out a number of taxes to either be cut or scrapped. Taxes expected to be scrapped include the special import levy of 17.5%, value-added tax on imported medicines, real estate sales, financial services and domestic airline tickets. The new administration has also strongly indicated that it will reduce the corporate tax rate from 25% to 20%, and to also reduce the 17.5% VAT on SMEs to 3% flat rate. Chief Executive of Delta Capital, a leading financial house in the country, Mr. Victor Owusu believes that the move will make Ghana a preferred investment destination in the sub-region.
I mean, for example, cutting corporate tax will make the country more competitive. And the investors always want to invest in a country where they will get the higher returns on their investment. So at the moment, Ghana is we share a border with other West African neighboring countries, and corporate tax in Nigeria, for example, is 30%, and that of Cote d'Ivoire is 25%. So Ghana reducing its corporate tax to 20% will make it more attractive for investment and attract more foreign investors.
There are estimates that the government will lose close to 2.6 billion Ghana cedis in the short term if the listed taxes are finally cut. A reduction in corporate taxes alone will cost the government 1.6 million cedis. But Mr. Owusu argues that the resultant growth in the economy will offset the immediate losses.
In other developed countries, tax cuts have been used as a stimulus to propel the economy. So we are all looking for growth. And once there's a reduction in taxes, it will give a break to the shareholders, to the investors, to invest in, to crowd back their profit in their company and expand. So this will also help to propel the growth. So it will, set off the loss that the government is losing immediately.
In the short term, the financial analyst is asking the government to tackle revenue losses as promised.
I mean, taxes are being collected, but if the government is able to stop the leakages, there will be savings in the tax revenue.
Still business live on GBC24. Now, from the farm gates to the buying centers, women play significant roles in the cocoa chain business. Studies done by Cocoa Board, however, shows that women are not getting their due because of land tenure system and other cultural practices. The World Cocoa Foundation met players in the cocoa industry in Accra to discuss strategies to increase women's access to credit to enable them own cocoa farms.
Cocoa is Ghana's main cash crop, employing thousands of people. Women play a significant role in cocoa production and preservation of the cash crop, but their contribution has not been recognized. In view of this, the stakeholders have met in Accra to identify priority actions and design recommendations for programs to empower women in cocoa farming. The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Madam Otiku Afisa-Jaba, called for an increase in access to credit for women who are into cocoa farming.
Women must be given the needed support through cultural, sensitive education and training. They must be supported with the necessary inputs, including credit and extension services. Access to funds has always been a limitation to women in industry and in farming. And so microfunds or facilities where we can get institutions with microfinancing to be able to ensure that our women have the ability to access them.
The Executive Director for Ghana Health and Extension Division of Cocoa Board, Mr. Emmanuel Opoku, said there is the need to amend some of the cultural practices to pave way for women to own land to cultivate cocoa.
The other thing we need to do now is to also alter our cultural and belief systems that should also encourage women ownership of lands. What on our part we are doing is to be talking to the opinion leaders and farm families to encourage them to release their lands to not only the men or the male children, but also the females.
The Director for Strategy, Policy and Learning of the World Cocoa Foundation, Nira Desai, said the foundation will continue to partner with government to ensure growth of the cocoa sector.
One of the leading strategies for the World Cocoa Foundation and many of our industry partners is called Cocoa Action. Our goal is to reach 300,000 farmers by 2020 with a set of interventions on productivity and community development.
In 2010, Ghana hit the 1 million ton mark in cocoa production, but in 2016, it's declined to 785,000 metric tons.
And away from that story, the Greater Accra Circuit of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union has met to trade ideas and strategies on how to reposition the union. The conference also elected new executives.
The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union ICU has a membership of about 5,000 spread across the country. The constitution of the union demands that every regional branch holds a quadrennial meeting before attending a general delegates conference. This year's delegates conference will be held in August in Kumasi. The General Secretary of the union, Mr. Solomon Kote, urged members to put in their best effort to help move the union forward.
Without the consolidation and the survival of the enterprise, all of us here will not have job. Whether it is the government quasi, whether it is in the private sector, whether it is me and my wife and my children business, whichever form of enterprise that the union is, our primary motive and goal is to ensure the survival and the sustenance of that business.
The Greater Accra Regional Officer of the Union, Mr. Thomas Atia, stated that job insecurity of workers has made it difficult for the union to increase its membership.
The provision on fixed-term contracts in the Act, is it also that maybe you have a project for a certain period? I will hire somebody to do that. After that, I don't need a person. Or is it that the job that industrial relations work in ICU, or is it that as a banker, there's a job there all the time, but that an employer can decide to say that I'm taking you for 2 years contract, and after that, subject to renewal or not. Whether the provision in the Act is meant for jobs that are available to be given fixed term period. That is another area I want us to be considered.
A 7-member regional council executive was elected to steer the affairs of the union for the next 4 years. They were sworn into office by the national chairman.
Let's go to the interbank market where the pound is selling at 5 cedis 46 pesos. The US dollar going for 4 cedis 37 pesos and the euro selling at 4 cedis 66 pesos. And that'll do for business. My name is Maurice Ogbete. Enjoy your weekend.
To some more local stories, Parliament has approved by consensus all 10 regional ministers designated appointed by President Akufo-Addo. They are the Western Regional Minister, Dr. Kwekwe Friye, Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. Simon Osei Mensah, Eastern Regional Minister, Mr. Eric Kwache Dafo, Greater Accra Regional Minister, Mr. Ishmael Ashiti, Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, and Upper West Regional Minister, Mr. Alhassan Suleimana. The rest are Upper East Regional Minister, Mr. Roxin Bukari, Bunahafi Regional Minister, Mr. Kweku Asumatreme, Central Regional Minister, Mr. Kwabna Duncan, and Northern Regional Minister, Mr. Salifu Said. The 10 regional ministers are expected to be sworn in by President Akufo-Addo later this evening.
Nominees for appointment as ministers in accordance with Article 2561 of the Constitution.
We move on and do some health stories now. There's been an improvement in the nutrition of children and pregnant women in the Volta region. This is due to a more efficient implementation of community infant and young child feeding practices over the past 2 years. The Volta Regional Director of the Health Service, Dr. Joseph Tainwete, disclosed this at the 2016 Volta Regional Health Sector Annual Performance Review at Ho.
The Health Performance Review is an annual and mandatory event designed to afford managers and heads of health facilities and other related institutions and stakeholders the opportunity to evaluate their work in the healthcare delivery sector. This is done to help identify challenges and strategize to address the challenges. The theme for the 2016 Performance Review was improving maternal and child health outcomes through effective supportive supervision, the role of leadership. Medical directors and superintendents of various health facilities, directors of health services, senior health managers of both public and private health facilities, and representatives of health-related development partners attended the meeting. During the year under review, the Directorate focused attention on home visits by community health officers at the chief's level. This resulted in an increase of home visits from 52,000 to over 98,000. This improvement was made possible with support and assistance from development partners. The Volta Regional Health Directorate of Health Services, Dr. Joseph Nwete, said the region also recorded a reduction in malaria cases, but added that anemia has become a major cause of admission in 2016.
The issue of temporary workers has assumed alarming proportions to the extent that district hospitals have to engage and pay temporary workers to be able to maintain the minimum package of services at the lower level, with the small hospitals engaging things in the region of 40 of such workers.
The Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Beidu Sarkodie, commended the Volta Regional Health Directorate for the successes chalked up in healthcare delivery in the region. He advised the health workers to use resources judiciously to achieve maximum results.
As we put in measures to strengthen systems to support the children, the newborn somebody mentioned, and then the mothers, our health system is strengthened adequate enough to address all issues of prevention, promotive, curative, and rehabilitative, cutting across all the age population, cutting across all the population segmentation.
Hello, good evening. Let's talk sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. We go straight to the family residence of the Ades family, where a delegation from the Ghana Football Association have paid a courtesy call on the family of the late Coach Samadi. Coach Samadi was the head of the technical directorate of the Ghana Football Association.
The entourage from the GFA was led by retired referee Elo Lai, the General Secretary of the GFA, Mr. Isaac Adu, and Executive Committee member Nana Benyisin, Coach Masoud Didi Dramani, Coach Dauda Lutrot, and the Assistant Coach of Liberty Professionals. Their visit was to express their condolences to the bereaved family of the statesman. The The 71-year-old coach Samade, affectionately called the multi-system man, was a retired superintendent of police. The accomplished coach guided various Ghanaian national football teams to succeed in international tournaments. Coach Ade's sudden death occurred on Sunday, the 12th of February 2017, at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital after a short illness. They later signed a book of condolence open in his honor. Referee Elolai described the late coach as a genius.
The late coach Sam Ade was a great man. He was the chairman for the Technical and Development Committee of GFA, and he doesn't play with his time. And when he's controlling the meeting, you see that he's a gentleman, straightforward, and then take decision, and then that's all. In fact, we've lost a great man, a football coach who has been doing well for everybody, in fact, all the coaches, the referees, and everybody. The GFA, when it comes to the GFA, we do give him that due respect.
On Saturday, 18 February, a book of condolence will officially be opened at his father's residence at house number A364/4, Ayikwe Taiko Crescent, Latebio Koshin. The final funeral arrangement will be announced soon.
Let's talk boxing now, where the president of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Peter Zwenes, is asking journalists not to classify boxing among the less known sports in the country. Mr. Zwenes says the history of Ghana cannot be written without boxing.
A journalist was conducting an interview and to ask me a few questions about professional boxing. He started by referring to boxing as one of the lesser known sports, and I took great offense at that, and I had to sit him down and tutor him about what achievements boxing have brought to the doorstep of Ghana sports, for which no other sports can equal. I'm saying this because our first ever world champion in any sporting discipline, read my lips, in any sporting discipline, came from professional boxing in the person of DK Poison. After that, many have blazed the trail. We've had several world champions, right from Azuma Nelson, Nanaya Okunedu, Ike Quarte, Alfred Kote, Joseph Agbeko. Name them, we've had them long before the Black Stars even dreamt of going to the World Cup for a first time. So when it comes to comparisons, please, this business of lesser known sport, don't bring it here as far as we boxing are concerned. We are the #1 sport.
The National Paralympic Committee, NPC, has held a stakeholders meeting in Accra. Discussions centered on how to promote parasports in Ghana.
The National Paralympic Committee is the umbrella body for all parasporting disciplines in Ghana. The stakeholder meeting in Accra centered mainly on how to promote the discipline in the country this year. The meeting attracted almost all representatives of the various para-disciplines in the country. The meeting focused on strategic partnership, relevance of stakeholders and funding for sporting activities. At the end of the meeting, participants agreed on a strong Paralympic brand to champion their cause. The General Secretary of the NPC, Mr. Ignatius Elite, said they are now united than before.
The parasports is a flagship of Ghana sport when it comes to the All African Games, and therefore if one has to go into the Commonwealth Games, to the 2019 All African Games, and then Tokyo 2020, we need financial support from government to be able to prepare and then train our athletes to achieve that aim.
The president of the NPC, Bishop Cornelius Ajakofi, called for a paradigm shift in dealing with para issues in the country.
I believe it is the way the nation itself looks at persons with disability or persons with challenges. Do you get me? It is something that is always pushed back. Well, though we talk as if we are interested in it, it's in their presence we say the niceties, and then the moment we leave their presence, we all forget about it. That is the real issue. So what we need to do is that there should be a national consciousness that we have others who are less disadvantaged in the society, less vulnerable in the society, we need to take care of. And everybody should be up to think in that direction.
Let's talk football now, where Black Stars Frankie Champon put up an outstanding performance and scored all 2 goals that ensured Anderlecht's 2-0 victory over Zenit St. Petersburg in the Europa League last night. Still on Europa League, Italian side AS Roma recorded an emphatic 4-0 away win over Spanish side Villarreal. As Dzeko scored once again, was Roma's hero as he recorded a second-half hat-trick. Finally, Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored his first hat-trick for Manchester United and the 17th goal of his career in the Europa League with a win over Saint Etienne at the Old Trafford. United won by 3-0. That's all for sports.
In entertainment, the African American Association of Ghana, AAAG, and the Dubois Center are hosting the Black History Month this year. Vanessa Mixon and Sydney Tarrant, representatives from the association, were in our studio with the details of the event.
Swing low, sweet cherry.
It's the annual African American Association of Ghana's celebration of Black History Month. Throughout the entire month of February, various programs are organized for the remembrance of important people and events in the history of the African diaspora. Black History Month is celebrated annually in the United States and Canada in February and in the United Kingdom in October. The event is to educate the community about the aspects of African history. Vanessa Mixon, a representative of the African American Association of Ghana, said the Black History Month has been celebrated for about 20 years now.
Black History Month has been celebrated in Ghana for at least 20 years.
Sydney Tarrant, also from the association, said the Black History Month is structured in the commonalities that exist between African descents.
This is Black History Month. A lot of the events are structured around just sharing that kind of information, the history and the commonalities that exist between all African descendants. So when you say Black history, it's really referring to all of those from the continent.
Activities such as spoken word will take place on the evening of Thursday, 23rd February at the Dubois Center in Africa.
Sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home.
In Ghana, we love to eat rice. Some of us even eat it every day. Rice is rich in carbohydrates and a great source of energy. And it is also a perfect complement to other proteins for muscle growth. Look, let me show you how much Ghanaians love rice.
Mango, grown in Ghana. Pineapple, grown in Ghana. Sorghum, grown in Ghana. Ediane,
And it's good to know there's one special rice that we all love to eat. Aduane Hene rice. With Aduane Hene rice, you know you're getting high quality rice proudly produced in Ghana by Ghanaian farmers. So when you see this stamp, you know that it is Aduane Hene. Ask for it by name.
Aduane Hene, grown in Ghana.
Delicious high quality Aduane Hene food product grown in Ghana for you. Aduane Hene.
That's all for the weather updates for tonight. Good evening. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Na Ofebia, for the weather report. Before we go, a look at the closing headlines. Ghana and Morocco have signed agreements covering 25 areas of interest to Accra and Rabat. The MOU aims at injecting a new life into the energy, finance, agriculture, trade and industry sectors of the two countries. President Akufo-Addo conferred the highest honor of the land, the companion of the start of Ghana, on the visiting king of Morocco, Mohammed VI.
Committee probing alleged bribery in Parliament has invited the Member of Parliament for North Tong, Mr. Samuel Kujetu Ablakwa, to appear before it.
And this is where we end News Hour. Thanks for watching.
You're back at 10:30 with News Tonight.